Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Cafe Gracia experience, the best kind of experience here at Sunday, 12:30 Eastern Standard. I am your host, Emmanuel Gracia. Some call me boss, some call me the big boss. But for those that know those references, well, you know what it is. But point is, today is the Cafe Gracia podcast, and today's esteemed guest of the week is another returning guest, and one that I'm sure many of you have enjoyed the last time he was here. But you know how I like to start these things off. Esteemed guest of the week, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Emmanuel. Yeah, it's great to be back here. I'm excited to just talk about games, and I think you mentioned Xenoblade specifically.
Yes, we'll get to Xenoblade.
Yeah.
We'll get to Xenoblade in a second. Because how are you, dude?
I'm good.
Like, how's the week been? All that kind of stuff. We're recording this on a Thursday, by the way. So I figure we say that in all future podcasts so that people have an idea of the timeline. We're not fortune tellers, so we don't know what's gonna happen for the rest of the week. But
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I've been good. Watched the Indie World yesterday. That was fun.
yeah, I saw.
There's some cool looking games.
Yeah, I saw a little.
Yeah,
bit.
some cool looking games there.
I feel bad for the Silk Song guys. I think you're a Silk Song.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I haven't played Hollow Knight, but I understand the hype behind it.
Me too.
And with Silk Song, I'm like, they showed this game 4 years ago, around there.
It was around the same time as when they basically presented Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4. So it's in that realm of the timeline, more or less, of hoping for news.
Yeah, it's just one of those games that just kind of disappeared and nobody knows where it is.
Yeah, but I wonder, because compared to Bayonetta, was it like the same as Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4, where they just showed a teaser and it's like Hollow Knight Silk Song? Was it basically like that? Because
I think they show gameplay.
Oh,
I think they show gameplay.
Then there's not much to complain, really. You guys at least have more than what Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4 guys are waiting. Well, Metroid's case, they got Metroid Dread, so they're not salty too much now, because
Oh, not anymore.
yeah, man, that's a game that was like 19 years in development. So I'd rather be hyped for a game that finally took that long to develop than a game that's currently in development and it's only been like 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, there's been those rumors about Metroid Dread since Fusion came out, right?
Basically around Fusion, it was basically during the hype of Metroid Prime, when Metroid Prime was tackling the audience, the Metroid audience, and so it was basically around that time, like 2002 to 2004. So yeah, it was long. It was a long time, that's for sure. And I'm really happy though, because Metroid's really. I don't know if you played Metroid as well.
I played a bit of Fusion, and I've been playing through Super Metroid recently, but I haven't played a ton of them. But I really enjoyed what I have played so far.
Yeah, exactly. Because I finished Zero Mission, which was a remake to the first Metroid game, which was really fun. Although I had to do that on an emulator. But also with Fusion, I gotta finish Fusion, but I know more or less like what happens towards the end and all that kind of stuff. I'm close to finishing it.
Right.
And because I have to do it on my phone, like I'm playing it on a phone. It's not on a laptop with a controller, things like that. I'm doing everything touchpad, so it's really, it's both fun and annoying at the same time when you have to do like the claw grab, just so you could do the RB, but you get used to it. But I have played that Zero Mission. I played Metroid Other M. That was my first Metroid game that I've played and beaten. I've played Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime 2, but I've never beaten them. I want to go back to finishing those because they were really fun. And right now I'm with Super Metroid. So I guess I have a pretty decent, like, I've played my fair share as well, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've played a bit of Metroid Prime as well, just the first one, but I never finished that one. I think I got fairly far in it though.
Yeah, I think with Metroid, you just have to. It's not like RPG levels of devote your time to, but it's more of like you have to devote your time to going back and forth. It's not so much if you're going like from one point to another, and then you just continue from there. No, like it's a lot of backtracking. It's a lot of like experimentation, and then sometimes you just get so frustrated that you're just like, oh, I don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
exactly.
Sometimes.
Although a lot of the backtracking is like very rewarding as well, because sometimes you'll see something and then be like, oh, okay, well, I obviously can't make it to that spot, and then you receive that upgrade or that power up that just you think, oh, I can finally see what was behind that wall, or finally see what was in that little crack there.
Yeah, for sure. The reward when you like figure it out and then you realize you have what you need for it. That's what makes Metroidvania games all the more exciting because you have it. You finally have what you need, and so it's just easier to tackle the game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, personally, for me, I've enjoyed more 2D Metroid than my small amount of time with Metroid Prime. Um, but Metroid Prime is also a lot of fun.
Yeah, the thing with Metroid Prime is it's basically like how like Mario has 2D Mario, 3D Mario, and then like Zelda has 2D Zelda and 3D Zelda. It's the same
Mhm.
thing with Metroid. Metroid Prime is just 3D Metroid.
Yeah,
It's just on first person. It just happens to be on first person.
yeah, and I guess the play styles are also pretty different between the 2D games and 3D games with both Mario and Zelda as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
It just adds more flavor to what the character's all about. Same thing with Sonic too. Like as much as we complain about 3D Sonic, and like he never transitioned well, and it's like, well, the
Sonic has
games
had a
are.
rough transition to 3D.
I don't know where I don't know where that originated from because that has to have originated from somewhere. It has to. Like I'm trying to figure
I
out
think
where.
I think it's just a bunch of reviewers saying the same thing over the years, like with, I don't know, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic '06, those kind of games where they just say Sonic has not been as good in 3D as it has been as it was in 2D. So I think it just came from a bunch of reviewers.
But Sonic Adventure, there weren't bad games. The only problem was that the remaster for them were a little bit glitchy in their graphics. But
Oh yeah,
they're still good.
no, I agree with you there. I enjoyed my time with Sonic Adventure 2 as well. But
Yeah,
like I guess just the games that came after that has never hasn't really, I don't want to say never, but it hasn't really reached that um, type of quality when it comes to gameplay or speed and like precision and all that. Um,
I guess yeah. I think it's just that you just have to with Sonic it just has to be a lot of experimentation, but good experimentation. It's not like
right.
with Mario, Zelda, and Metroid, the 35th guys. They're able to succeed in 3D because they've experimented it, and then they realized in one game they failed to improve on certain things, so they fixed it in another one. And then if they failed to do that, they fix it in the other one while keeping what the original games had. When you
Right.
go from Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask, they kind of fixed the improvements of what Ocarina of Time didn't have compared to Majora's Mask. And then when you go to Wind Waker to Majora's Mask, they fix a lot of what those two games didn't have for Wind Waker, and then so on and so forth.
Right.
Sonic doesn't do that. Because Sonic, they're very ambitious for one project, and then they end up flopping the other. Like that's just their pattern. It's like they're not consistent with what they need to do with how they want to portray Sonic. So it's not so much that 3D Sonic has had a rough transition. It's that the developers have no idea how to fix the problems because they keep trying to do something different instead of fixing what was already established and make that better.
Right. Um, yeah, and I think another challenge that the Sonic developers would have for the 3D games is the whole thing about Sonic himself is that he's fast. And in 3D games, it's difficult to give you a certain amount of control and precision while keeping the character as fast as possible. Whereas with Mario, his platforming is a lot slower, but it's also a lot more precise, and it's easier to be precise when you're able to take your time with that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And I with Sonic, I hope that they. One thing for what I want with Sonic is that I want them to let the fans work on the projects moving forward. Because if Sonic Mania Plus is doing a really good job, and it's been 4 years close to its original release, and then you see Forces still not, Forces being Forces, it kind of shows you that you're gonna have to let the fans take charge of these big projects now. They have to be the ones to take charge, because they seem to have an idea what Sonic is all about.
Right. And I think something that's very important with not just Sonic, but I guess gaming in general, is that as these franchises continue to get older, people that grew up playing these franchises are now going to be the ones developing it. Exactly. So, like Sonic is what, 30 years old at this point? Just had the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, he had he's 30. He's a middle-aged man.
Middle-aged man.
Well, middle-aged hedgehog. He's not a man.
But yeah, like you'll have people in their mid-30s plus developing these games now because they grew up playing Sonic on the Genesis and that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So I think it could only get better from here, just because the people that are going to be making these games know what they want from a Sonic game.
Exactly, and that's just the circle of life too. Like if you're gonna have to pass that torch to someone, the question is who. And in Sonic's case, and this could be said with everybody else, because look at Metroid. The people that are doing Metroid Dread are the people that did the Samus Returns, the 3DS remake of the original Game Boy game. So clearly, you have to pass it on to someone that's capable and knows the legacy of that character. And Sonic Team doesn't do that. They need to step up with that. But we'll have to wait and see with Rangers. If Rangers does a good job, or whatever the real name is, I'm just we just have to wait and see.
I hope that game is good. I hope that game is good.
Me too. But enough about that. How's The Last of Us Part 2? I know I wanna like wait for Xenoblade just a little bit, I wanna like let everybody wait for that. This is like the appetizers. So how's The Last of Us Part 2? Because you seem to be really enjoying that game.
I am, and I think the reason for that is because I knew of all the controversy going into it, with the story, the story of the game, and what happens with the characters, with some characters. So I think part of the reason why I'm able to enjoy it so much now, like a year since it's been out, is because I guess I'm just playing the game and going in for what it is and not really having any kind of expectations.
Right, and I think you made a good call doing that, because I don't plan on replaying the last, because I only played the first 5 hours of the game, but I just didn't feel like wanting to play the rest of it, and I think that was partly because of like the not the hype, but the atmosphere surrounding the game, and I'm like I would rather waste my time playing another game that I know I'm gonna enjoy than one that at the very moment I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it. And I've had my fair share of like saying that, I don't think that the game isn't that bad, but I don't think it's worth like a 10 out of 10 either. Many people have said that The Last of Us Part 2 is mainly, if anything, it is mostly 7-8 out of 10. But because because of how of like the whole thing with Naughty Dog back then and all that kind of stuff, it was too much. It was too much.
Yeah, I'm there with you with all the stuff that's happening inside the company, or the studio rather. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day, how in the PS3 era they were able to release over 4 games with Uncharted 1 through 3 and The Last of Us, and then PS4 era they only really released Uncharted 4, Last of Us Part 2, and I guess Lost Legacy. But like that number definitely went down. So,
yeah, it's just my whole problem with Naughty Dog, aside from the like what was happening around that time with crunching and things like that. Clearly, it's not as worse as what's been going on with Activision and Blizzard. Definitely not to that extent, but it was still bad. my one problem with Naughty Dog is that they keep trying to do the same thing. I don't know, like, do you understand what I mean? Like, if you compare Uncharted and Last of Us, they're essentially the same thing, regardless of them being two different playing styles.
Right.
And I just don't. I want more variety. You know, I want them to do more like Crash was Naughty Dog. That's how they started.
Right.
So if something like that would be amazing, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the best studio to look to right now, and I think we talked about this last time, would be Insomniac, where they're doing Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man right now. Two completely different games with completely different play styles. But the stuff that they're putting out is some really good stuff.
Yeah, because what I like about Insomniac, and this is what I want. This is what I love about Insomniac and Nintendo, because they know what the people want, and they also want to make sure that the game isn't just focused on story and, you know, cinematography and all that kind of stuff. They want you to have a good time as well. They want you to have good control of the character and to make sure that you're enjoying the game, you know.
Right.
And with Naughty Dog's case, you know, I love the Uncharted series. They're my favorite of all time. I not just also because, like, I'm a huge fan of history and all that kind of stuff, so they help me to with that kind of stuff. But I can't replay them as much as I would like to replay Spider-Man or a Ratchet and Clank game, or any Nintendo game, like a Kirby or a Mario or a Zelda.
Yeah.
Because they know how to handle the controls.
Yeah, exactly. And I've noticed that too with Naughty Dog games, where I've gone through the Uncharted series once, and I've gone through The Last of Us once, and currently going through The Last of Us 2. And I mean, they're good games and they're enjoyable for when you're playing them, but like you said, I don't see myself going back to them anytime soon. Whereas something like Super Mario 64 is one of the most replayable games ever. I played that game several times. Same with Super Mario Sunshine, Galaxy, Breath of the Wild, all these other games that Nintendo would have put out. And I guess Spider-Man too, or Spider-Man as well, the series on the PlayStation right now. Like, I constantly go back to those games, even just to mess around in the city, swinging around and that kind of stuff.
Right. There's always something for you to do, you know. Sadly for me, like, I can't really with Spider-Man case, because I platinumed it, I can't go back to it because it's like I already did everything. You know, like, and that's what I don't like. That's what I don't like about platinuming games. At least, like, first time, because I platinumed Spider-Man, and that was my first playthrough. Like, that's how easy the platinum was. So it's like, and I also did that with Persona 5 Royal. I also platinumed Persona 5 Royal on my first playthrough, and I'm like, no, I'm not replaying this again. I already did everything I had to do. I am done. I am done. No harem run this time.
How'd you manage that? That seems like quite an undertaking.
You're gonna hate me for this. I took my time. I took my time. I literally did, like, no, the reason why, and I'll be honest here, and a lot of people consider it to be cheating. I, on the other hand, do not care, because I already played the original Persona. Right. Persona 5. I use a Nagino Okami. First two, for like the entire game, I just basically used them, because I wanted to see the extra content that the game had. I wanted to see the third semester. So I already knew more or less how this game was gonna work, and I didn't want to put the effort in. So it was kind of like a new game plus for me.
Right.
That just ended up not being free. But I just did that, and I leveled up. I did the Reaper grind also, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. But it was so fun. Like, third semester, dude. Oh man.
Oh, it's so good.
It was amazing. It was incredible. That was incredible. Third semester. I can't. Oh, that was amazing. That was really
Yeah,
good.
Persona 5 Royal is easily one of my favorite games. I already love the original Persona 5 before that as well. So this one Royal just kind of took everything I loved about the original game and made it better.
Yeah,
Especially with the combat and the navigation of the palaces and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, they really amped it up too, and
Hmm.
that's what made the game so fun. Like they almost made it seem as if you weren't really playing turn-based RPG sometimes. You know, with the amount of options you're able to do, it was like you might as well just turn this to an ARPG. Oh, well, there's strikers. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like what they did. And Royal just, man, it was an incredible experience. Like
Hmm.
I don't know what else to say about it. Like that's the thing. Like what else can you say other than it's a masterpiece and it's like 10 out of 10, you know? Like that is truly 10 out of 10.
Yep. Easily one of the best games out there. And I know a lot of my friends, like IRL friends. I'm always trying to convince them to play some of my favorite games, like Persona's one of them, and then obviously there's Xenoblade and whatever else I'm enjoying at the time. But like Persona is one that I urge a lot of people to play.
Yes, I wish I could do that cuz I only play I can only encourage 5, but
Mhm.
I can't really say much about the others cuz I really want to play the other games. Persona 4,
Yeah.
3, and but more so the originals, the original 1 and 2, because those
Right.
were like that's amazing. Like those I've heard are good. Like they're good, but they're not challenging. They're not hard. Like I've heard, like with so many people that are involved with the thing, and
Hmm.
it's it's something that I hope Persona 6 kind of incorporates as well. But we'll just have to wait and see as well. Like it's just
Yeah,
that
and I
there's
think
a lot of stuff to expect. Like that's what, you know, like that is what I want to see.
hmm and I think Atlas said that they have a bunch of Persona stuff that they're gonna announce sometime this fall.
Yes. Yeah, right now with Atlas, they have like the 7 projects type of
Seven
stuff.
projects, that's what it was.
But I don't know. Like, what do you think those 7 projects are going to be?
Um, Assuming they're all Persona related, because it would be the anniversary coming up. I'm sure we'll see something from Persona 6, even if it's a Metroid Prime 4 Bayonetta 3 style teaser where it's just the logo or just the name or something. Um, I don't know though. Like I guess I'm expecting more ports onto, especially on PC, because they put Persona 4 Golden on PC, so I'm expecting more ports like that.
So like, hmm, yeah, yeah. I think ports are gonna end up being the ultimate thing. I think that's what they're gonna,
Hmm.
because it, it wouldn't make sense for them not to do that, especially with how successful P4 was, P4 Golden.
Yeah.
So they could probably do the same with with P3 and hopefully a collection for Persona 1 and the 2 duology.
Hmm.
Like there's just a lot that 7 projects, that's the thing. Like what else can it be? Like okay, let's say is a port of Persona 3 or a remake to Persona 3. That's one project.
Hmm.
Let's say we have the duology and Persona 1 collection, or that could be one game, or they end up being 2, where it's like Persona 1 HD and then Persona 2 and the duology collection HD. So that's 3. But like, what more can they do? Like, are they gonna planning on milking more of like the arena games? Are they gonna continue milking Persona 5? Like,
Persona
I,
5 Arena.
Persona 5 Arena, a lot of people want that. Like, that's also another thing. It's just that I don't know. It's 7 projects. It's just ah.
Um,
It's
yeah, I'm trying to think. I
maybe
really don't know what it could be though.
maybe it could be SMT stuff, or maybe they're just doing red herrings and they're like, ah, here's some SMT. I don't know.
an anime adaptation of Persona 5 Royal. That's another I
That
don't
could
know.
be.
I'm
Oh,
just
I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
I'm just trying to throw out some random stuff that I could think of. I'm sure we'll see it soon. Like I said, I think they have it planned to be announced sometime this fall, so it's only a matter of a few months till we get there.
Yeah. Yeah. But now, the moment we've been waiting for, though. It's like I wish you could see, because I'm like, right now I'm also kind of like multitasking, because at the point of this video, at the point we're doing the podcast too, a video has already came out, which was Metroid related. So I'm just here like, oh god, what's going on? And then I'm also trying to pay attention to you. Like it's just it's just funny.
Yeah, I gotta watch this video. Looks interesting.
It's fun. It's the usual stuff. It's the usual stuff. But Xenoblade Chronicles. First of all,
Yes, sir.
I have to thank and hate both you and Koro. Because I'm like, I wonder how this game's gonna be. And as when I was playing it, I'm like, at first, and you heard me talk about it, I think Koro did as well. I'm like, I do not like the combat. But then towards the Alchemoth arc and onwards, I'm like, this combat fun.
Oh, it's really good. It's
I don't have to press buttons. But my one problem with it though is that it takes way too long for you to actually enjoy the controls and the combat of the game. But other than that, it was a pretty fun experience. Like, I really enjoyed every single second of it. And it's dude, music, everything. Like, I wish I played this when it first came out, honestly. Like, it was such a... But the definitive edition was great as well. Like,
it's so good.
Yeah, I still have to play Future Connected. I have to, because I did the review for Xenoblade Chronicles, but then I want to do a separate one for Future Connected, because like, how long is Future Connected? It's like
I want to say about 20 to 30 hours. So
it's like another game basically.
Yeah, about that, maybe closer to 15. It's fairly short. Well, relative to the main game itself. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff you can get lost in when it comes to Future Connected. Like, there's, side quests and whatnot that will help you as you continue playing through the game.
Yeah. But I like. It's just, I don't want to spoil Xenoblade Chronicles either, because that's like something you have to experience, especially the end of the game. Especially the end of the game, or when you reach like when you finally reach Mechonis, and it's like, what is happening? What is going on here? Like, what? Like, and it was just like, oh, I can't. I don't want to spoil it. Like,
Here.
There's
So I guess I'll say it like this: when I first played Xenoblade Chronicles 1, which I played it through Definitive Edition, going into it, I did know some spoilers because of stuff around the fan base, and because at that point I already played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but also Smash, because Smash kind of spoils some stuff in that game. But there's so much more in the story of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 that just those few things that I got spoiled for me, it doesn't matter. There's so much more to this game that you can enjoy it even with the minor things like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. I wonder also how Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because with the rumor of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and then it being like a sequel, but like a distant sequel to 2, and then it wants to connect the events of 1, it makes me wonder, like, I thought Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was its own standalone story, but apparently it's actually connected to 1. It's an actual sequel instead of like a Final Fantasy and a Final Fantasy 2. It's like, great. Okay.
Oh man, I'm not gonna say anything. I just want you to experience it on your own. But I do wish I was in your situation when I first played through the series, because I played 2 and then 1, and what you're doing right now, playing 1 and then going into 2 later on, is definitely the best way to experience the series.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, all I know is that I thought I was gonna play more Capcom stuff, but now because of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I am like, yay, time to go play with boobies. I mean, with you know what? I'm gonna commit to it. Yeah, with titties. I can't wait to play with titties.
Oh my gosh.
I can't. You know, like it reminded me of, you know. I'm not gonna specify the person, but you know, because I love the person so much. I love the Twitter account with all my heart. He's an amazing person, but it's just funny, like when you play only 1 hour of a game and then you just love everything about a character, you know.
Yep.
But
yep. It's just an extreme obsession with the character.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with that, and I love like, even because, you know, the person at least played 1 hour. You know, like you got to give him credit. Like 1 hour, you know, it's like 2
and I mean,
hours.
I'm all for you know, spreading interest of this series. So, and it's clear that they do have an interest in the series. So I'll give them that.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, if you see this, if this ends up being clipped, just so that people can, hey, oh, they're hating on you. No, we're not. Like, we love you. At the end of the day, we love you. You know, like we just like to poke fun at this. You know, it's you know, we're doing a little bit of bullying because we love you. You're like family and all that kind of stuff. You know, because he's a good person. You know, that's also another thing. Like,
right.
You know, we just want him to enjoy a game. So we're not that kind of stuff. But yeah, what should I expect from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that, like, in terms of combat, gameplay, all that kind of stuff? Is it basically the same thing as 1, or is it like they improved it a little bit, or they didn't improve it a little bit? Like, which one is it?
So for the combat, I wouldn't say they improved it, but rather it's a completely different beast on its own. Like, the combat between 1 and 2 are 2 very separate things with very minor similarities.
Like,
so the auto attacking is still there, and the, like, positional stuff is still there in Xenoblade 2. But now you also have to pay attention to the stuff that your party is doing. Like, the positional stuff is not as important as I guess the type of attacks you're doing and the type of attacks that your opponents are doing, and then your party is doing. And then you also have to pay attention to like combos and stuff like that. So there's a lot more to it than just the positional combat that you'd be familiar with in Xenoblade 1.
So it's a lot more technical, basically.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, that it takes a very long time for you to get into the combat with Xenoblade 1. I did not fully understand the combat in Xenoblade 2 until my second playthrough of the game, and once it clicked with me, it just changed everything.
It took
like
you
that's when I knew
playthrough just to understand the combat.
It did, but that's because I did not go out of my way to
play the first.
No, I didn't go out of my way to what am I trying to say?
Speak.
I'm trying learn the combat and understand it. I was just kind of button mashing the whole way through.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I figured, yeah.
So I will say that the tutorials for the combat they're terrible in the second game compared to the first. So you might have to ask around or look up some tutorials if you really want to get a good grasp at it. Because yeah, it's a completely different beast.
I see.
And they changed the combat a little bit in Torna, which is like the additional story that you get through DLC. And they simplified it quite a bit, which a lot of people prefer. I think I prefer the original version of that combat just because it's what I'm used to.
Yeah, a lot of people really like that DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, like I've people really like talking about when they talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But
Yeah, it's very important for I guess one of the characters or a bunch of the characters throughout the main story. But I would not recommend playing it until you finish Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I mean, obviously, yeah, like it's like one of those DLCs that probably is like its own separate thing, but will still spoil the game regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but then what about the characters? Because I love the cast of Xenoblade Chronicles 1. You know, like that's why I want to like. I don't want to immediately go from Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and then go to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because I have such a high regard for the way they portrayed the characters in Xenoblade Chronicles 1 that I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 isn't going to do a good job, like the team with Rex and all that kind of stuff. Like,
right.
But like what how's their dynamic? Is it like the same? Is it better? Like give me everything.
You know what? So one of the reasons why I prefer Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is because of the characters. I feel like they do a good job of having a certain dynamic between the characters, but also making each character as important as the next. Whereas in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, I feel like the where that game struggles a bit is keeping a lot of the characters relevant throughout the entire story, right? Because you got Sharla, who in Xenoblade 1, who's important for like the 2 chapters she's introduced in, has no reason to be there throughout the rest of the game until a certain point near the end.
Well,
that's the way I see it anyway.
No, because I think every character was there. Like obviously they needed the reason to be a part of the team, and then from there they were just a part of the team. They were just a part of the shenanigans. You know, like they don't necessarily need a spotlight of importance because they already had their moment. Now they're just like part of the sometimes there'll be moments where they'll be of importance, but since they're already introduced and they're already part of the gang, there's no point because you're already familiar with them.
Right. And I totally get where you're coming from, but I think where Xenoblade Chronicles 2 does this better is it keeps the characters relevant and important throughout the entire story. Like they have their own internal conflicts when you first meet them, and they all get resolved by the end of the game. Whereas it's not their own conflicts at the beginning and it's resolved then and there, and then they're just a part of your party. Like they have they have a much bigger reason to be a part of the party and to go through the story with you.
Right. Like they all have one but I don't mind those characters like that sense of like characterization, but if everybody is going to be, it just feels murky. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously I will play the game and see it for myself, but if everybody ends up getting their stuff resolved towards the end of the game, it just loses out on like, well, what's their quirk, what's their thing, things like that, you know? Because I'm thinking, because I'm also thinking from the perspective of One Piece, because One Piece does a really good job doing this, and that is that in each arc they make sure to resolve what that person is all about, like their backstory, all that kind of stuff. And when they resolve it in that arc, that's where they realize that there's not only more to this character in the past, but there's going to be more to them in the future, that kind of thing. So their arc is done, but they will continue to be a part of the main story. You know, like they will still have their moments and their quirks, and you will be reminded of that time and time again. With what you're telling me, it feels more that everybody doesn't have their thing resolved at a certain point in the game. Rather, it's towards the end. And so, you know, it just feels like there's no development in between the game. Like I don't know.
See that? I'm trying to figure out ways to say.
But you get what I mean.
To say a bunch of stuff without spoiling. Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I'm just trying to figure out ways to say to explain it without spoiling the game for you. Because I mean, I guess with some characters, there are moments where they kind of have nothing to do with the story, and then their part of the story continues later on.
Right.
But I guess it's all about figuring out that balance.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
balancing the importance with all these characters throughout the entire story. Um, and it's not like their own stories and their own conflicts are separate from the main story, because what's happening in the main game, they all have something to gain by the goals of Rex and all the main protagonists.
Right.
So everybody has something at stake throughout the main story, and pretty consistently throughout the story.
Okay. Okay. And I don't have to do 2 playthroughs to, like, I can do 1 playthrough and then switch back and forth with Pyra and Mithra, right? It's not like one pick,
Oh,
one
yeah.
playthrough. Oh, okay, because that's
Yeah.
what I thought when I saw screenshots of you guys going back to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and you're like, the right choice, and it's like, well, so does that mean I have to play the game twice? Like, is
No.
that okay? Because I'm like,
That's
I am not
that's
doing
more
that shit.
no, that's more for dialogue options, more towards the end of the game. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. It's a very non-important kind of thing that happens in the game.
All right, so I know I'm gonna be picking the one that has the bigger chest.
Oh my god.
I mean the bigger personality, chest. I'm sure some degenerate out there decided to actually measure Pyra and Mithra's chest size. I'm pretty sure there was someone out there that tried to do that, and they're like, let me grab the ruler, the measuring stick. No, wrong measuring stick.
Pixel by pixel.
Yeah, exactly. And just like the scientist Patrick meme.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was basically them. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
you and I, the simpletons, big boobies. Yay!
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh man. And I don't know, this is something that I've always kind of tried to talk about on Twitter, more so earlier when the game was a lot more relevant than it is now. But
It's still pretty relevant, dude. It's only 3 years old. Like,
I know, but it was there was a lot more deeper conversation when the game first came out, within that first year to 2 years.
all right.
But something that I've always tried to do is say stuff like the Pyra and Mithra are so much more than just their designs. Like, they actually have some really good character in them, and yeah, I'm just excited for you to eventually play the game.
Yeah. Right now, I want to finish Super Metroid because I'm basically almost done with that. I want to try Kirby out with the SNES Online. I think Superstar Ultra, because that one's
Okay.
like the more iconic one.
Yeah, I think so.
I was going to play Okami, but then Xenoblade Chronicles decided to say, no, you gotta finish us. And obviously I gotta do Future Connected, but since it's an I love Melia. Melia is my favorite character of all time for the Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, regardless of whoever my favorite is gonna be in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, whatever, just number 1 spot, Melia. I love Melia. But I just don't want to play 30 hours just so that I can have an understanding that she wants to be the best ruler for the high NTS. Like, if it had something to do with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like a teaser or something to that extent, maybe. But if it's just a Shulk Melia adventure, then it's like, no, Shulk, Melia, and the Ricky's children, then also the
Kino and Nene, I think that those are their names.
yeah, something like that. The red one and the green one.
Yeah.
Mario and Luigi.
Mario and Luigi, just about to say that.
It's like Mario and Luigi. They're basically Mario and Luigi, just not Mario and Luigi. It's like, let's be honest here. That's basically what the developers Tetsuya Takahashi's like, we need some nice colored designs for the Nopons. What can we give them? So, Mario and Luigi, right? Say less.
Say less, let's do it.
Less, yeah, done, zip, that. Yeah. I love the Nopons. When it comes to RPGs, and I think this is like a necessity for RPG games, you gotta have the mascot,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was something that Final Fantasy obviously Dragon Quest started, because their mascot are the slimes. And Dragon Quest was before Final Fantasy. So Dragon Quest, you have the slimes. Final Fantasy, you have the chocobos and also the Moogles.
Yep.
And I like how, because I don't know if you knew this, but Tetsuya Takahashi actually worked with Square Enix. They
on Xenogears, right?
No.
Or...
he worked way back for the SNES era for Final Fantasy IV. He was one of the main lead developers for Final Fantasy IV. And
okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and for a few others. There's a bunch of people that once worked with Final Fantasy with Square, because it was called Square back then, that moved on with other projects and decided to do Monolith. So the people that are from Monolith used to be a part of Square. So take that, that's why there's so many similarities, so many references to Final Fantasy and to other Square Enix games as well. It's like paying homage to their original works.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, they did get Tetsuya Nomura to design some characters for Xenoblade 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
I think no, I didn't. I did not. I did not.
Yeah, so he didn't design all the characters, but I think he designed all the villains for that game.
That makes sense. As soon as you said villains, I'm like, okay, makes sense. Tetsuya Nomura is his own beast. He's an excellent artist, but very crappy storyteller. I'm being honest. I'm being real here. Right? If it took you that long to conclude one arc of Kingdom Hearts, imagine how long it's gonna take to conclude the second saga of Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts 4 coming in 2030.
Yeah, and then we have a Final Fantasy 7 remake and how that's going. It's literally changing the Final Fantasy 7 meta. Apparently, it's a meta. You finished Final Fantasy 7, right? Remake?
Yeah.
Okay, then you know what I mean. It's apparently it's a multiverse theory. And it's come on, Nomura, stop! You can't write a. I don't care if people are gonna attack me for this, but Nomura just cannot write a good story. No. Let me rephrase it. He cannot write a cohesive story. He can write a good story. Kingdom Hearts has a really good story. It has a really good premise. It's just not cohesive. There's
a lot to it that in order to understand the more important stuff.
Exactly. And the fact that, and this is also my problem with Kingdom Hearts, is that it took a mobile game to explain essentially the events of a game that was for the PSP. Essentially, not essentially. It's okay. Let me backtrack a little bit. Backpedal. So gotta get my thoughts clear. Okay. First problem I have with Kingdom Hearts: story is incohesive. We've already mentioned that. Studio Nomura cannot write a cohesive story. They're still good. They're still good games. They're still good stories. Just not cohesive enough to fully appreciate. Because you know how many theories that shit has. Okay, that we got out of the way. Second, the way the games were released is my biggest problem with Kingdom Hearts, and I think I might end up having to make a future video for that, because I cannot stress enough the fact that the reason why not a lot of people know about Kingdom Hearts, or not a lot of people care enough to play and appreciate the story for Kingdom Hearts, is because of how the games were released. The fact that after playing Kingdom Hearts, the first Kingdom Hearts for the PS2 in 2002, you had to play a sequel on the Game Boy Advance in 2004 to then understand what the hell went on in 2005 for the PS2 for Kingdom Hearts 2. You know, like, the fact that these games are not spin-offs but are actually tied to the freaking story, it bothers me. Because there's no... It again ties in with the cohesiveness, the incohesiveness of Kingdom Hearts. The fact that you cannot play Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 by himself without having to play Birth by Sleep, 358 by 2 Days, and Chain of Memories. You cannot play what is essentially the trilogy without playing 20 other games. And that's what bothers. Like, don't call them Kingdom Hearts. And hindsight is 2020 on this. Like, for 100%. Kingdom Hearts should have done the handheld games as spin-offs. They should never have been tied to the main story. They could have added value to people having an understanding as to what the hell Kingdom Hearts is all about, but it shouldn't have been part of the plot. It should not have been part of the plot. And it forces players to have to play these games to understand again, incohesive plot. Like, it's dumb.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the main reason why I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3 at this point, because I haven't finished playing through 1 and then everything else in between. Like, I think I played... The last one I finished was Kingdom Hearts 2, and then I gotta go play Birth by Sleep, and then I gotta go play... what's the other one? Fragmentary Passage, and then Recoded, and I'm trying to remember all the names after that. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot to play.
Exactly.
That's the reason why I haven't gotten to Kingdom Hearts 3. And I mean, they're good games. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the games.
Fantastic games. They're fantastic games. Kingdom Hearts 3 is still a really good game, but it is a lesser version of Kingdom Hearts 2. Still good, but not great. Just so that we're clear on that. Because a lot of people like to trash on Kingdom Hearts 3 and like to be Kingdom Hearts 2 purists and elitists. And I'm like, shut up. Both are good games. Yeah, sure, there could have been some elements that they could have implemented in Kingdom Hearts 3 from 2, but it's still a good game. You're still good. You're still enjoying it. And yeah, sure, there was a lack of side content for the game and whatever, but it's still a good game. It's still Kingdom Hearts. It's like whatever, just, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But like you were just saying, I want to get the most out of the story, and I can't do that if I haven't played through all the games, and that's the main reason why I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3. I just never finished all the main games, all the other games rather.
Yeah. Yeah, I love, because one thing, and this is also like I can criticize Kingdom Hearts and also Persona 5 Royal. Like, I can criticize them as much as I like, but at the same time, you know, I played them at a very important part of like my high school days. So I can't really I can't trash talk them because they're good games too. And especially in Persona 5's case, where, and I say this every single time, had I not played Persona 5, I would not do everything that I'm doing right now. Like, literally, I replayed Persona 5 during a time where I transferred to a different high school. I replayed Persona 5 because I'm like, you know, it's kind of relatable at the moment. That kind of stuff. And I replayed it, and then I started liking the Ren Hifumi ship. And so I saw artwork on Twitter, and then I was like, you know what? Let me go revive my old-ass Twitter account that I've had since 2014 when I was a middle schooler. The irony of that statement, because we're like, don't get it if you're a minor. We ended up getting it when we were minors. But whatever it is.
Yeah.
The past.
I guess that was the same with me, where I made my Twitter account like 2014, 2015. I barely used it for I rarely used it, never touched it. And then when did I start getting like really into Twitter? I think that was when it was definitely after the Switch. I think it was when Mario Odyssey or it was at sometime after Mario Odyssey came out. And being a Nintendo fan was like the greatest thing ever at the time.
I mean, it still is.
Oh yeah, for sure. But we didn't have a big target on our backs the way we do now.
We've always had a big target on our backs. What you mean?
I guess.
Look at the Scott the Woz clip. What was your favorite? Nintendo. Like.
Okay. Yeah, you got a point. But yeah, I didn't start using Twitter until 2017, 2018, and then I just kind of got dragged in, and now this bird app is ruining my life.
Yeah, that same thing happened in 2017, 2018. Start of 2018, I was like so involved with Persona. I was like, I started writing fan fiction for Ren and Makoto because that's my favorite. Oh. That's like my favorite shipping of all time. And I think at a point I was like, nah, man, they gotta make this canon. Like it's too coincidental for them to basically be the same. Like their character design, the fact that she has 2 arcs. Makoto has 2 arcs. Ever since she joins you, she's basically like the mom of the crew, and like how she compliments Joker in like attire and aesthetics. It's like they clearly like were hinting at a quote unquote canon, romance option.
Right.
But I was so deep into that, and I remember the fanfiction because it's still out there somewhere. It's in one of those fanfiction sites, and it's still there. People want to read it.
I'm gonna start my hunt. I'm gonna start my hunt right now.
You don't have to. I was gonna send it to you anyway. Be like, look what I did back then.
Okay.
Because it was
makes my life easy.
I think you'll enjoy it actually. I think because this is something I think because you played Royal, you'll look at what I wrote from because this was from 2018 to 2019 before Royal was being announced and all that kind of stuff. You're gonna look at what I wrote and you're gonna be like, Atlas must have read that. Like they must have read this fan fiction. Like you're gonna be like that. I guarantee you're gonna be like that. Cause I big brained the hell out of that. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm making my own shit here. Screw it. I'm not doing like one of those like. You'll see. But that
so what you're saying. So what you're saying is that Royal is basically your fan fiction becoming canon.
Look, let me be real here. I even sent them a Twitter DM of the link of that fan fiction, and then 4 months later, we get Persona 5 Royal. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Look. I'll give it. I have one female character that has a ponytail with a ribbon as like the little Guess who has that, huh? Guess who has that? Guess who has that?
Kasumi.
Exactly.
Kasumi.
yeah. It doesn't have the exact color, like hair color, because hers was like brown, but it was the same freaking aesthetic. It's like they read for sure. Read like. It is
I can imagine everybody in like a meeting in the boardroom reading your fan fiction and saying, "This is it. This is the next game. We're gonna do this."
Not just that. The way that I wrote it was very ARPG like. Hordes of enemies coming at you, and then you have to like in real time use your persona and summon them. Doesn't that also sound like another game? Oh. Doesn't that also sound like another game that came out this year? Now
I'm just gonna be like, yeah, you created Persona 5 Royal and Persona 5 Strikers. They're your games.
I'm just saying, man. Like it's too. There's no such thing as coincidence. Wait, how does that go again?
Oh my gosh.
How does that work?
I think you got it. Yeah. There's no such thing as a coincidence.
I love it. Well, whatever. What was I gonna say? We went through a huge. Okay, so yeah. Point is like Persona came at a time for me where it helped a lot with my transitioning between 2 different high schools, and it made me feel more of myself too. Like I kind of broke out of like whatever shell that I had. I'm just like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And That's how it is. And then I met there was fan site before all of that happened. He was a big before all that happened. He was a big pusher. He really enjoyed my stuff. He really helped me grow in that kind of stuff. But what happened with him? It is what it is. At the end of the day, you gotta take it.
Just have to learn from mistakes like that and just kind of move forward.
Yeah, and when that happened, I was just like, whatever. Like, it is what it is. Like, I wasn't like, oh my god. You're like how like most Twitter, like, I'm not disrespecting the way that they were being emotional about it, but it's like, it was a Twitter account at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, we had a few calls on Discord and all that kind of stuff, but it's like, we didn't meet face to face, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it is what it is. So yeah, he helped out, and then I'm trying to remember how I got involved with Fidel, because that's like the one enigma that I can't remember during my first years of Twitter. Like, Fidel literally just showed up. He just showed up, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And I was gonna do like the joke and like, fuck, I regret this ever since. Like, but Fidel is an awesome.
I mean, Fidel's brought so many people together. Shout out to the boy.
You have no idea. Like, that man is a legend. He's not a goat. Mm-hmm. He is a legend. That man is a legend, and he's just having fun, And that should teach us, everybody, whether content creation or not, that just have fun with what you have to do. And the more fun that you have, the more you'll want to keep doing that, to keep doing those kind of things and improve. And when you look back at all that progress, you'll be like, damn, wow. Like, so that's
yeah, and I guess like you, Fidel just kind of appeared on my timeline one day too. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess he's here now.
But I remember our first interaction, because it was with.
Oh my gosh!
It was with Ren. It was one.
Yeah.
It was one post that Ren did, and I want one of these days. I'm gonna get Ren to be a part of the part of the Cafe Gracia experience, because she is an amazing person as well. She is incredible. Or they. I don't remember. The pronoun game is fleeting with me at this point. It's like this person. Ren is an amazing person. Ren is an amazing person.
Ren is great. Yeah. Love seeing them on the timeline. That interaction was so funny.
Brother?
So I guess we should kind of explain it to those listening. Where Ren, a mutual of ours, they posted some kind of tweet saying, I want to see selfies of mutuals. So I'm like, okay, bet. And I posted like a picture of like an older selfie of myself. And then Emmanuel comes in and he's like, brother, and then posts a picture of himself, and apparently we look the same.
We look the same. And then I think I did the Spider-Man gif where two Spider-Man. Yep. Yeah. And then we just followed each other. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, fair, bet, done.
Yeah, that's how we ended up following each other too. And then since then, I guess we've just been kind of continued talking.
Yeah, exactly. We just kept being part of the timeline and all that kind of stuff. And then and I'm trying to remember Koro as well. I'm trying to remember how. Oh wait, I think it was because someone was retweeting one of his artworks, and then I looked at it, and it was around a time where I wanted to kind of change the look, like profile picture and all that kind of stuff. Like, I wanted to create like a very iconic thing.
You know what I think how you and Koro started talking?
How?
It was under my tweet talking about Devil May Cry. And then you two started talking about Devil May Cry too.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That is so true. That's so true, dude. I'm clipping this part. I'm gonna send it to Koro and be like, "Look what you did."
Look what you did.
Look how it all started. Eh,
Oh, Devil May Cry 2.
Devil May
Bringing
Cry
people
2.
together.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing, though, dude. Dude. Looking back is incredible. Because that was all last year. That was all last year.
I mean, everyone on the site, like all my mutuals, people I talk to, we've all come so far. We've all, we're just trying to have fun on the website. And by the end of the day, that's what we all end up doing. Whether it's sharing memes, talking about our favorite games, or I don't know, just messing around, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you really can have some positivity on the Bird app after all. Yeah. But alas, this has come to an end now, fortunately.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can enjoy whatever games you play next. And to everybody listening, play Xenoblade.
Xenoblade, yes. Go play it. Yes. As for me, you guys know how I like to end the usual, except this time I'm going to try something different. Because I've been told that I need to improve the way I talk on my videos, because I tend to drag and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to say this is how I'm going to end the videos from now on. Keep being awesome, because I know you guys can. You guys are here in this world for a reason, and that is to do great things. So keep improving yourselves each and every day. Know that I love you guys forever and always. Keep doing acts of kindness. Keep spreading love and kindness to the world. And I hope to see you all in that next fantastic video. And stay freaking sexy. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. See ya.
Bye.